Hey, cousin colleagues. Welcome to the More Laughing at Work podcast. Let's talk.
Wait a minute. Was that an elephant? I'm not going to swear there was no elephant. That was an elephant in the office. Golly, y'all, look. There's an elephant right there. You don't see it. It's right there. The elephant name is Tammy Takeover Meeting. Yeah. This is the Tammy Takeover Meeting. Yes, you didn't know. That's how this works. See, manager Marjorie, she tells everybody to come to the meeting, but don't nobody talk but Tammy. But nobody has to, because Tammy take over. Tammy take over every part of the committee. She leads the meeting. She does the action items. I mean, Tammy got the idea. She poses the problem and she solves it. Just look. Nobody even comes with the expectation to have to contribute. Tammy gets her meeting. This is Now, granted, Tammy don't have nothing to do with the meeting for real, except with your kid. But Tammy's going to take over this meeting. So, yeah, you just sit back and relax. This is Tammy's meeting. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Nobody says anything. Oh, we just let the elephant sit right there. You know, you just pretend like you don't see it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the More Laughing at Work podcast. I am your host, comedian Allison Moore. I am Virginia's comedian, and I am also a real human resources professional. Out here in these streets, baby, I got street creds for HR. If you don't believe me, you can ask Sally Mae. Put some respect on my name. The More Laughing at Work podcast is giving a little bit of work-life balance, a little bit of personal finance, some professional development, and most of it is us coming together in a secret group to talk about our coworkers and encourage each other not to slap anybody while we are on this professional growth journey. Because listen here, baby, we cannot be slapping people and also be successful. Okay? Do we agree? This is our 10th episode, which means this is the 10th week that the cousin colleagues and coworker cousins in the More Laughing community has gone workplace slap free. I think last week we started counting the weeks where we have been safe, where we didn't let anybody that works with us get too deep up under our skin. It's not that serious. We here to grow professionally, get the shmoney, and go home, right? So listen, this week I am excited about today's conversation because it's all things that makes me super uncomfortable, because it is a wonderful opportunity for me to exploit just how cray I am. As if I don't let y'all know enough each week that I'm just not wrapped too tight. I said, this week is the week where I'm going to just go ahead and be more clear. More clear that your homegirl here is, I'm a little different. You know what I'm saying? I'm different from you humans. This week, we're talking about personality. It's all about personality wars, because I really can be honest with you and trace back to all of the times where my personality has interfered with some opportunities for me at work. I think that's the most delicate way that I can put it, but I truly believe that not being accountable to and aware of what personality you have and how you come across to others and how you do or don't mix with other personality types absolutely impacts your future at work, in your profession, on your career. You got to know, really how you come across. What kind of things set you off, sis? You need to be more aware because, girl, you are setting fires that you really don't have the intention on setting. So that's what we're doing today. It's all about it. I am so excited today. Our co-worker, cousin, our guest that's joining us in the break room is my friend and our MooreLaughing at Work producer, Jeremy Harriot. And he's talking to, it's giving some introvert community. I just want to let y'all know that I create space for everybody in the MooreLaughing family, okay? Not just those of us who are like ADHD prone creatives. That would be me. I feel like if you like me, that is definitely a part of you. Or maybe, people that just tend to be more extroverted, charismatic, colorful, kind of, those types of people like what MooreLaughing tends to put out. But they'll also shout out to you introverts, a whole lot of y'all that rock with me. Now you good and crack because you ain't even got to deal with it. Like those people who think totally different, who see things totally different and still sign up over here. Y'all the real MVPs. But I just want to let you know I have a special episode for you because I invited somebody that totally thinks different in every kind of way than me to come and talk, because I truly believe that, obviously you all know our work teams and our work families are made up of so many different people and different personality types. And sometimes it's really important to be reminded of that because we be out here making all kinds of messes. If you're anything like me, then that is your story. And so that's what we're doing today. And for our MooreLaughing all the way to the bank, is baby, this journey that I have been on today to prepare for this episode really just chewed a sister up and spit me out. But okay, so before we jump over into the break room and I talk with Jeremy about, being an introvert in an extrovert world, because I just really want to get into the brain of a fellow introvert. And I say a fellow introvert because y'all, I think that I'm an introvert. Let it marinate. I am an introvert, and I don't care which one of y'all disagree. I feel like that I am an introvert because I don't really like people. It's definitely an argument every time I tell anybody who meets me that I am an introvert. They want to try to tell me that I'm not, because you know how people are. They be hating on you, but I think I am. I don't enjoy particularly being around people or whatever, but that's a whole nother conversation, whatever. I just know that, all jokes aside, when I am not thinking through the lens of this conversation that you're having right now, Allison, with this other person can totally be driven by you all's personality types. When I'm not thinking through that lens, y'all, I be crashing a lot of car conversations. I don't know if this car analogy is working. I hope so. Somebody write me and tell me if it doesn't work. But when I drive with that in mind, don't be distracted by the personality types. Stay locked into where you're trying to go. I have had so much success. But when I forget that how fast we're driving, how slow we're driving, the particular routes that we're taking is predicated on or dictated by the personality of myself and the other person I'm talking to. When I forget that, then I get lost in the actual travel instead of the destination. And I've seen that play out in so many different spaces, and many times, and most recently I had a situation where I was like, okay, girl, you got to really check your ego, because you missed that was a difference in driving style. That was a difference in personality. You are more they're more reserved, but your ego made you see their reservation as being defiant or being disinterested, instead of seeing their reservation as that's a type of personality. That's their personality. That's just a personality. You guys are still trying to achieve, X, Y, and Z. So go for what you're trying to achieve and not be distracted. Well, what did they mean when they said it like this? Or why did they choose to communicate the answer back in this way? Like, so for me, did you see me head so if you saw it, there was like a half a millisecond where I almost lost my life right there. Did you see it? If you heard it, it was an air bubble, but that air bubble got in my throat. So like, I was like, "Oh, you gonna take me like this guy right here on this podcast episode? We gonna go today. We gonna just when I was about to fix my personality, this how we gonna do. This is what you gonna do me like this, God, in front of these 36 people. Shout out to you, y'all. The numbers is going up. The numbers is going up each week. You know what I'm saying? We getting consistently like in the 30s. It was in the 20s and the teens. But anyway. So anywho, so my professional perspective today is definitely for us not to forget how important it is to check these personalities, us to be self-aware. Maybe we are a little talkative Tammy-ish. Shout out to those who are like me that always have an idea, that are always trying to share, that always want to give and contribute. It can be misinterpreted as you doing too daggone much. You're not giving space for somebody else to get out their point. And so for those of us who that is a root of our personality, you know, I'm talking over others, or I'm always giving an answer in a meeting, or I'm always contributing, that personality type of being excited and being energized. I'm trying to use very positive ways of communicating some of those characteristics. That personality can be misinterpreted to being selfish, to being one that is main character villain, one that is not sensitive to the fact that other people have ideas and want to contribute. You know, I used to think that, and this is not my effort to be, because sometimes I watch these videos, I'm like, girl, you are a little narcissistic. That's a narcissist, but I'm working through me. Okay. They didn't have all these words and all these things when I was coming up, so I didn't know. Okay. However, I don't want to take away the impact, the negative impact that I have had on other people when I have done some of these things I'm about to share with you. But I want to be honest to say at least the place that I feel like it originally came from. So I am definitely somebody that will overtalk. You're not finished your sentence, and I've started to talk, or I cut people off. And I've been a lot more aware maybe over this last year. I'm like, oh, sorry to cut you off. Oh, sorry to cut you off. And much more accountable to myself, because I tell myself, you may be excited, Allison, and you're just down the street. You have 17 thoughts that are just bursting out. So giving a little Tourette's and some other things you might be dealing with. However, it's coming across as if you're disrespectful, that you're not patient, that you don't really care what they're saying, and that you're not listening. And so because that's not what I want to come across like, then it's very easy for me to use that as my motivation or as my accountability. Like, I don't want anybody to say that I'm disrespectful. And I also got a little secondhand embarrassment going on. I just don't want anybody to be embarrassed because of me, or because of any environment that I invited you to, and now you leave feeling worse than where you were. So what I tell myself is, it's embarrassing that they're trying to get their idea or their thought out and you're not letting them finish. You're embarrassing them by not letting them communicate their point. And that has really helped me. So if you are like a talkative Tammy, like me, or a takeover Tammy, then maybe you could kind of use some of those things internally as things to tell yourself inside that will help you be more disciplined when it comes to moments that looks like you are taking somebody else's shine. And ultimately, my professional perspective is find ways, be intentional to create opportunities for everybody around you to shine, and especially engage those that might be more shy or quiet or introverted. Because if you can get an introvert or a shy person, or a person that's normally in the background, to shine, anybody around you, I think we have this scarcity mindset that is like, I need to shine the brightest so that people can see me. If I am a solo shiner, people will see my light shining brightly. But yeah, you can shine bright as one person, or it could be three of y'all lights that are standing beside each other, that everybody is shining bright. And so the glow is just much more powerful, much more attractive, much more engaging than it is when it's just you shining solo. So get other people around you to shine. So what does that mean? We know you got great ideas, Allison's and Takeover Tammy's. Shut the F up and let Susie or let Bob, who takes a little bit longer just to put all their thoughts together. They got ideas and stuff together too, but internally they just need an extra couple of seconds to, because they're talking themselves through how to get this out to make it sound as good as your excited idea. Or maybe not, they don't have anything to do with you, but they're trying to get started. It's like those cars that you're trying to. I feel like in my 10 episodes that I've used that analogy before. Shout out to you all who have heard me repeat stuff. I should be able to have 10 episodes without saying the same thing. That is a sign. But anyway, I recognize that clearly my life experiences includes quite a few cars that don't start up immediately. Oof, testimony, I'm a little triggered. But if that is what your colleague or somebody around you is experiencing, they just need a little extra time to get warm. But if you always have created this expectation, as soon as the question is going to come up, you're going to answer. People are just even going to turn off their internal, let me think, let me listen intently, let me try to contribute. Because they're going to say, we'll take over Tammy, going to do it. So let me just let her do it. And then for us that really have these goals of, we want to be more successful, we want to grow professionally, those of us who want to elevate in leadership and things like that, what people are looking at is your ability to empower, your ability to influence others around you. And the majority of the people around you are not extroverted. Oh, the squeaky wheel is the one that's going to get. Most people are not like that. And so for me, I used to think, I guess they don't have any ideas. No, they got ideas. You're just faster at talking. Or I used to think, well, let me just distract people while it's giving them a time to think. Well, can't nobody else think because you're talking, so they're listening. So you don't have to be save-a-hoe, Allison. Just shut up and let somebody else contribute. You've already proven that you should be here. You're not an imposter. You're supposed to be here. So now let's give space for somebody else, because another part of being a great team player, people want people on their team that contribute, that have ideas, that can execute, but that can also help pull somebody else's fantastic idea along. So it doesn't benefit us to be the type of person who only has ideas, who only can talk, because then the other people who have great ideas, we don't ever get to benefit from them. So once you're a leadership team or someone realizes, man, Allison, she's pretty dope, but we don't get any ideas or projects out unless she's leading them, you might find yourself off the team. So keep that in mind. That's just my professional perspective, but let's go ahead and jump into the break room so that we can talk to our coworker cousin, Jeremy Harriot. Y'all, he be helping us out so much, because he is the one that after I ramble, then he comes, he edits, he puts the sound together, and he makes it so that we can publish it so that you can hear. Many of you who've been on the journey since episode 1 know that we started this a year and a half ago, where I put out an episode all by myself. I'm sorry, y'all. I could not resist the urge to karaoke for y'all. But I started an episode and it was just, oh my gosh, this is just so time consuming, like trying to write it out and put it together and then edit it. And so I think I did like 1, 2, 3 episodes, published 1, and I recorded about 6 or 7 or something in the tank, and then only got 1 out and ruined my computer or hard drive or whatever, which messed up episodes 4, 5 and up. And I just was really deflated, like, oh, forget it, just forget it, I ain't doing this, I got a real job now anyway. But once I got really excited to go back to bringing my content out, I knew that I had to be smarter about how to do this, and I needed some help. And so insert my homie Jeremy Harriot, who came in, and so he takes it. He's our producer. He does the audio and the video piece, and he's pretty, like, I would send him stuff and he would get it done and fast and in a way that I'm like, I didn't even think about that. And then after talking to him a couple of times, I'm like, oh, you smart but you're quiet. And as I started to just work through my own journey and just realize some things about myself and my personalities and different teammates, and then reminded of like different trainings and things I used to teach back in the day in employee relations, I started realizing his personality type is fantastic for my team because it's very different than my personality type, which then made me say,
I need to be talking to all of the introverts.
Because you know what? I think I probably had a whole lot of more introverts and quiet people around who were brilliant, who could have been helping me be Oprah and taking MooreLaughing Network to the next level, but I keep over talking them, so I missed it. So anywho, I invited him to be on the show so he can talk to us, and so that more talkative Tammys and takeover Tashas like myself can learn how to shut up and give space for somebody else. So without further ado, because I like saying that word because I'm childish, let's go ahead and jump over into the break room and welcome my friend and our coworker cousin, Jeremy Harriot. Yeah, I am so excited. I got in here the one, the only, Mr. Jeremy. Oh, sorry, that's my call. Jeremy Harriot. Oh wait, since you're the producer, can you put some sound effects for your intro?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our coworker cousin for today, Mr. Jeremy Harriot. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, homie?
Not too bad. I can't complain. It's a nice warm afternoon here, so enjoying that to the extent that you can in the South.
Yeah, listen, we are both in South Carolina today, and you're right. That is one of my favorite things about moving here is the weather is top notch, and it is a very beautiful day, so I'm happy about it. It feels kind of interesting when I was just saying, like, welcoming you to the show because you are the show. Like, I mean, if it were not for you, we wouldn't have too many episodes. We might be sitting in episode negative.
Fair.
Yeah, so it's like, do you welcome somebody on the show? Well, yeah, I mean, barely. No, I had one that was published. You came in and put 2 and 3 together for me. We put it out, but welcome to the show, and a shout out to you. And I'm glad that the coworker cousins get to see the face who puts the sound and the pieces and the sound effects together.
Yes, this is a little surreal because like we're having this conversation, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch it and edit it and make it look good. So I'm kind of self-editing in my head as we go, but I think it'll be fine.
Are you like, at this many seconds, I know I'm going to say this, and I'm going to cut that piece, like your ticker's going in?
Kinda. It's more so in the sense of like, if I mess up, know how I need to recover to make it sound and look good. So it's like having the exit strategy for when you start flubbing up.
Look, can you give me one? You need to put one of those chips. You need to make an app for that, and I want to be one of the first. Matter of fact, I'll help you market that. Let's come together on that, and so it's where this constant recording is with us that gives us some little, okay, that afternoon. This is how we need to recover from that, and at 4:06 p.m. we need to. I need that, Jeremy.
Oh, see, that's the thing. Like, that ability comes with 2 things. One, it comes with like having practice in recording, and then 2, it's a thing that you develop only when you're being recorded or you're on camera. So like it's an awareness that occurs in a very like narrow like lane of life.
I mean, I believe you. I think it's also something that come with the smart package that y'all smart people get. That the rest of us, we just let y'all duke it out. I let y'all go ahead and handle that. I'm gonna be on over here with the snacks, and y'all call me when you get back. You just got real smart on me, which is why I asked you to come and join us in the break room, Jeremy, because you got some brains that I think that the coworker cousins need to benefit from.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, let's do the break room thing.
Well, we're doing the break room thing. We're in the break room. I think you are perfect because, I mean, obviously, because we're creating, we're understanding like who's listening to the show, what is this for? Who does it help? Who joins us in the break room? But it's like, the vision for the break room is to just have those conversations with the coworkers that you like. I feel like,
Yes.
I mean, we work together, but I think if we worked together in a more traditional setting, you'd be cool. I would eat with you in the break
Yeah,
room,
oh,
Jeremy.
for oh
I would
for
eat with
sure,
you
for
in the
sure.
break room. But I do think it's really interesting because, okay, so you remind me of some coworkers that I used to have. I remember in particular when I worked in this one company that it was more men than women. It was a lot of manufacturing, IT, engineer type people. And y'all have a certain, I am totally, okay, this is a trigger warning for everybody that I'm about to generalize and be a weirdo. But we friends in the break room, so give me a little grace. And I know that we're not all a
Okay.
monolith, but it's something about you all, because you're like an IT person, right? Are you in the Geek
Somewhat. I,
Squad?
I work with a lot of technology.
You're in the Geek Squad, okay. So you're in the Best Buy professional, you got some extra, you can't, your job offer had perks and benefits. You got special things that people like me, it took 10 years to like, oh, y'all offer that? Oh, you can ask for stuff like that? Like, anyway, let me stay focused. I'm not jealous. I celebrate men and women that are my friends. Anyway, okay, so not to generalize you, okay, this
Okay.
is the longest disclaimer ever, but I do, y'all introverted type of people, I wonder how, like, how do you make it? Like, how do you
Okay.
make it through a normal day with people like us, that suck the life side of you?
Okay. Okay. So I have a theory. I have a theory
Okay.
that I know probably applies to me, and maybe in general applies to other introverts, and maybe even people who you would qualify as empaths.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that in a lot of cases, people relate to me because there is a lot about me or experiences that I've had that are relatable, and people see a glimpse of themselves in the interaction that they have with me. And so they automatically extrapolate that to this person is a lot like me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily the case. It's just often that there is something about me that's relatable and able to be connected to that makes that interaction fruitful for the other person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can see that because you are pretty relatable. So shout out to all of the introverts and people in the Geek Squad and the More Laughing family that feel like, ooh, she finally got a guest that I can relate to. She sees me. I see y'all out here. In fact, I am an undercover introvert myself. I really think I am an introvert, but introverts be hating on me and they're like, you're not an introvert. And I'm just like, I don't like being around people. I'm just good at it. But I feel like I share the same sentiment as you all do. I just gotta eat. Closed mouth don't get fed. So with that being said, bars. Ooh, I'm landing on y'all today. So with that being said, how do okay, so like when I come to work and I'm around all of the humans, I'm drained because I'm just like, I don't really think like humans. But with my friends that are introverts, or that have these like laid back kind of personalities, you guys get the life sucked out of you even before the work part of the work day, just simply because the presence or the personalities of the people suck so much life out of you. And so like I'm just fascinated with like high performers like you, like how do you function? Because you still kind of work in the office, and like how y'all out here surviving? How are the introverts surviving the streets of humanity, the humans coming back to the office and stuff?
Okay. So that's a very good question. For me, it helps that I have a team that I work with
Mhm.
that um, is both similar and dissimilar. So there are people on my team who are introverts like me. There are also people that I work closely with who are extroverts who get their energy from being around people. And we are able to share that load. So there's a buddy of mine at work. We work pretty closely on some projects. And there are times when we've just got to, circle up the wagons, get people in a room to get stuff done. And I don't want to do that. Like, I want to just send an email like, hey, we're going to meet on X day at X time. And I can like mentally get ready for that. But you can't do that when you need everybody in the room in 10 minutes. So my buddy that I work with, I was like, his name is Matt. I say, hey Matt, we need to wrangle up a group of people for X, Y, and Z. Can you go ahead and handle that? I'll handle all of the technical stuff that needs to happen when those people get in the room. And so he's the outgoing one. He goes and makes those personal connect, like those energetic connections. And once all of those people are actually in the room, then I start giving directives. Hey, here's what I need you to do, and here's what I need you to do. So they've already bought into needing to be there, and I get to give them instruction on why they're there and what they're doing while they're there. So having some personalities that you can lean on is wonderful. Having your emotional boundaries and props and aids to those emotional boundaries is also pretty critical.
Oh, I want to talk about like what is an emotional boundary? Because clearly you already know I ain't got none. Hence, a part of this journey that I'm on. My expectation is that by this time next year, I have been, that I have developed and grown in my emotional maturity. But I want to know like what are some of those things? Boundaries, the props. And then I do want to come back and kind of touch on the dynamic or I guess the missed opportunity in depending on the extroverted side of the team to be that messenger. So where do you want to start first? You want to talk about that, how you balance your circle to compensate for some of your preferences? Or do you want to start with give me some of them tools to help the introverts and the closeted introverts like me?
Okay, so let's start with the emotional boundaries and aids and props for that.
Okay,
So
yeah. Let's go there.
my thing, emotional boundaries and props and aids and tools. I feel like for me, let's say making a phone call, like a cold call to somebody else in the office that I really don't know. Like for some reason, maybe because it's, I'm a millennial and phones and whatever. Like
Shout
that's
out to the
uncomfortable for
millennials.
me. Yes. So like maybe that makes me a little uncomfortable. So what I could do, like, so let's say I have to talk to Adam about the ABC project because I need him to come in and write some stuff or speak on camera or whatever. Instead of calling him, I might send an email and say, hey, Adam, I'm working on this ABC project and you've been related to me as a subject matter expert who I need to consult on getting this completed. Would you mind if I called you or we had a Skype meeting or Zoom meeting or whatever on X day at X time and we can go over some of the particulars? Here's some of the information that I've been given, and here's some of the things that I'm looking to get clarity on from you. So I don't have to worry about leaving a perfect voicemail. I don't have to worry about him giving me a flat out no to my face. All I have to do is send that email and he's going to correspond and he's going to let me know at what level he is interested in being involved, and I can prepare for that as I lead up to that meeting. So whereas an emotional boundary for me it might be I'm having difficulty or anxiety in addressing this interaction in this one format, I prop myself up with another format. So instead of phone, I do email, and then set up the voice or personal interaction for later when there's a very clear understanding of where everybody lies in the situation. Because the worst thing about a cold call is you don't know what that person's doing, you don't know how they're going to feel about it, and you're giving yourself the space to not have to react on the fly to their reaction.
Oh, this is so good. This is so helpful because I work with and I have people on my team who are introvert. And I think because I say so much that I am a closet introvert or whatever, that I really miss some very important pieces of the true dynamic or the thought process or some of the fears or apprehensions of an introvert. And you're helping me because I remember at the beginning of the year, I helped lead this like a culture committee, and it was one of the first ones that we did, and we had like some huge piece of, like an employee appreciation event and a whole day business meeting and some recognitions. Well, that's my jam, right? Like, I've done several events and conferences. I like putting like stuff together. You tell me in 3 months we want to have let's say a comedy show or a women's conference or whatever, 500 people, that's the venue, that's the budget. Oh, I'm putting together like that's my jam, right? So I get committees of employees, and I'm thinking through the lens of these are people that I have a good relationship with, that I feel like I can kind of help keep motivated, influence. I think that they really believe in the importance of culture in the workplace. So I'm selecting these people on the committee for that. I'm not looking at what they might be comfortable doing. So fast forward, so I have one person on one part of one of the committees, which is the entertainment. So I'm like, all right, I need you to call this person. I need you to tell them. I need you to call and at first, because again, I wasn't really tapped in this moment, I'm like, call the DJ, find out how much it, yada, 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 call the whatever. And she's coming back, well, they emailed me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, but when you talk to them, did you? And she comes back and she's like, yeah. And so when they messaged me, and I had to take a second, look through my empathetic eye lens and say, I was like, oh, wait, you an introvert, ain't you? I said, you ain't never called nobody before. And she was like, no. And you keep putting me on the spot. And I'm like, oh, and only thing I could think of are any type of leaders who maybe ego is the first thing that they look like. Why didn't you do what I asked you to do, how I asked you to do it? Like, I really would have, if I would have let that piece of me go down the trail, I would have missed an opportunity to continue to grow with this person who has now really been somebody that I could really count on. But what you're saying is like, oh, girl, you gotta kick that up, because there are people who are like you, Jeremy, because you and I work so much. We work together and we're talking multiple times a week, but we're talking through email. We're working on things in this kind of creative type of project. So I could really misread, because you super smart and you taught me so much and you're quick with it. I could totally miss the fact that you're like, I needed a moment to process what you was about to say, Allison, which is why we're not on this phone every 2 days, every day. That's a whole real thing, y'all. I'm like, oh, shoot, you just like, I'm like, because I'm like, let's hurry up and get it out. Let's find out let's uncover what the issue, let's get it out. And you're like, I need a minute to think. I'm like, I don't even want to think. I just...
Right, and so there's also this thing, and I don't know if it happens with both men and women or introverts and extroverts, but I know for me, there are a couple of different levels that occur in communication. So you say a thing, and I hear it, and I process what I think you mean, and before I say anything else, I have to think, could she have meant something else? What else could she have meant? And so there's a little bit of like delay in response there. And some people might interpret that as not being engaged in the communication or not paying attention. but it's really processing, and that requires some time. So for people who process like that, sometimes communication via text or email is best. And like phone conversations just provide a little bit of resistance or a hurdle or just something that just doesn't quite always click, especially if it's some uncharted territory.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there's often, well, so I'll say often for me, the times when a phone conversation is going to be really great or perfectly fine are issues where I'm the subject matter expert or professional, quote unquote, in command, where you're leaning on my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the person who's directing the conversation or requiring results or answers, that's going to put me a little bit on my heels. So that could be a little tricky or challenging. So in some of those cases, having an email with a list of questions that are numbered can allow me to process and maybe gain some of the insight and context of what you're trying to get resolved, so that even outside of understanding what you're meaning, I might be able to gain that context and provide some insight that I didn't have time to process just by you asking me a set of, 4 or 5 questions, one after the other.
Look, you helping me out. I feel like I'm about to be so equipped to deal, interact, and to be successful with the human race. You get me straight. Okay, so look. So Jeremy, let's rewind back. So you were talking about kind of some of that dynamic and that partnership that you have with some people in your, your community, your team, your squad, your work environment, your work homie. If we zoom out a bit, I always wonder, in what way do you ever find, or I guess I shouldn't even say in what ways, do you ever find yourself like, sometimes I would relinquish the role of, hey, you friend of mine, go be the messenger. With the exception of, how do I know that I'm going to get the right message? That's a lot of trust that I'm putting into the person that's the communicator. And I feel like if I'm not in the mix, I'm going to miss some important information. And then I just kind of have to rely on people to come back and bring me, and just hope that I got people in my community that's going to give me the right information or make sure that they're connecting dots on my behalf, or that I get these opportunities.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
here's, I think I'm going to talk my way into an answer here. So I think
I
I'm going
talked
to
my
keep
way into
talking. And
a question, so hey, we even.
so my boss trusts me to execute creative vision. So there are complete tasks and campaigns that she has said, hey, here's what we want at the end of this campaign. You got it. Oh, I trust you to do it. Uh, Send me a draft of the pilot proof of concept. And as long as that works, I'm shoving it over to you. So I have a track record of being able to execute vision and creativity and this set of tasks. Now, in my office, there's about 10 of us, and I can say that we have like kind of some overlap in abilities,
Mm-hmm.
to where for just about any job responsibility, someone else can do about 30% of it, if not up to 50 or 70.
Mm-hmm.
So my buddy Matt, who works a lot of projects with me, my boss probably doesn't trust him to uh, execute a complete campaign with creative vision on the level that she trusts me in the exact same task. But both my supervisor and I can trust Matt to do that 30%. And so it might not be 100% creativity, but he can round up those people. He can get them comfortable to be on camera. He can set the camera up. Matt just hasn't had the experience in post production that I have. So knowing how far your teammates can go in executing a task will keep you from putting more on them than they feel comfortable doing, than you feel comfortable trusting them with, and allows everyone to execute to a level of excellence that's going to put everybody in the best light. And that's a certain level of awareness that you have to have.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be keen in, or very, like you said, self-aware of where your strengths and weaknesses are. You got to be honest with yourself. If you're not the people person, if you are maybe more administrative, and after people leave you, they're always frustrated. You don't need to be the one that's calling people. You need to put the stuff together in the background and hand it off to the Mats, who are very jovial in their personalities. So I see how it benefits you to, you know what, okay, I see your skills. Let's put you on the front end of this task. We'll use this one, stuff them in the middle, we'll overlap. So I see all that. Let me switch gears just a little bit then and just pick your brain on what about in situations where it's a networking opportunity or it's a new project with all new people. What do you as an introvert have to do? I don't know what that process may look like, but you talked a little bit. I mean, I guess you probably do have some, because we just said about those emotional boundaries and props or whatever. So because it doesn't benefit you to never go out and be around anybody ever, right? If you always send Matt out to all the networking events and things, you don't meet the people. So how do you compensate, or how do introverts make sure that they don't miss out on, because we say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know in a lot of cases. So how do you overcome some of those types of necessary shaking hands and kiss babies moments?
So for me, one thing I do, I'll continue to use Matt as an example because he's a good example. Matt is very extroverted. And one thing that I have decided is that whenever I go to a conference or to an event and Matt is there, I'm his wingman. He goes point. He's like, I want to talk to them. Well, I'll chat up the rest of the group once you create an opening. And the other thing that I do is, let's say I'm by myself, I have figured out certain ways to create openings in casual conversation that just make conversation a little easier. So figuring out how to compliment somebody on something that they have. Hey, I really like that messenger bag. I really like that hat. People are often eager to tell a story about something cool that they have with them. So creating that low energy connection that can open up a conversation. Hey, I really like that pen that looks like X, Y, and Z that I've seen on TV or such and such and such. Is that where that's from? Oh yeah, I love this show blank, and I was a real big fan, and so I figured, it'd be something that I'd wear and put on my badge or on my bag or whatever. Oh, well, while you're here at this conference, what brings you here? And so just creating that easy opening to where nobody's got to be overly vulnerable to rejection, and you can very easily feel out how open someone is to conversation, creates a pathway to opening up some of those emotional boundaries or resistances to socialization.
I was about to say, Jeremy, why are you tap dancing? Because that's one of our upcoming upskill episodes we're going to do on networking, and it's not your normal small talk. I'm like, Jeremy, why don't you just teach that session then? You just done upskill, you done taught the upskill, but that is so good. You are right. I got a friend, His name is Jay. Shout out to Jay. And he's a creative. And we have this we got this group of like projects or whatever that we said we're gonna work on. But he has this thing where he like hates. He is it is so funny. He hates small talk. I think he like real allergic. Like I used to be like, you extra. He's like, I promise you for real. Like, and so did you ever see the Awkward Black Girl? Did you ever watch Issa Rae's Awkward Black Girl series online before she came out? Okay, so she had this one scene and it makes me think of Jay every time where it was like her and a coworker and they were on this long hall and it was just so dramatic. It was funny drama, but they did not want to walk past each other. They were trying to like look at the wall, go down the hall because they didn't want to have that weird in the office, small talk. But you're right, like small talk is so much better if you have at least something to say. And just you don't have to start with my grandma just passed away and I still came today. I pressed through. How about you? Like, whoa, because it does kind of leave you out there if the person has nothing for you and it sets you back. Like, that's why I don't talk to people because they don't care about you. So, like, you just gave us a couple of little, for those who are listening, one or two little one-liners that we can use at that next event when it's time to show up. Shout out to you.
Thank you. I'll take it.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so before we leave, real quick, last thing, because I've been putting a lot of pressure on introverts because I'm an introvert, and introverts unite. Whether you guys want to accept me into the club or not is something, the club that I am not a part of, but still very fascinated by and a very proud supporter of Club Men. Hey, Club Brothers. I got two. So I care about I care about the race of men here. Okay. I always wonder, like, y'all got a cheerleader in me. That's what I'm saying. So, shout out to the MooreLaughing brothers, the co-worker cousins that are bros, and the OGs that are men that are like, thank you, Allison. We love y'all too, but golly, some of the guys like, when you gonna have some more men up there? I'm like, all right, I heard you. So we appreciate you. I'm not using you for that, but what kind of things like what are some of the things that go on in the back of you or in you all's world as it applies to, the professional spaces? Like me and the home girls, we talk about like sexism and or how do you balance your femininity with also still being a powerful woman and getting respect. Like those are our topics. What are like things that you all talk about in the break room?
Oh gosh.
In the break room, not the locker room.
Okay, so it honestly it depends, and it depends on the makeup of your break room and how vulnerable you can be with them. Now, at my job, very little. It's very surface, but there are a couple of guys that I know from personal and church life that we just make a certain connection, and there's a conversation I was having with one of our colleagues. And I'll use the phrase that he uses as a professional man who is often doing things on his own accord or like striving for more.
Oh, okay.
Both like on jobs that I'm hired for, like, or so on my 9 to 5 and in my outside of work, side hustle, whatever, there is an awareness that most men have, especially black men who are really trying to, be a quality man. They are aware, as my friend Michael says, no one is coming to save you.
Shout out, Mike.
Shout out to Mike. And I don't know if that's a thing that resonates for women. But men of the ilk that I assume Mike and I are, we're aware that we got to go out and get it. So if you want more in life, you got to chase it. And it's going to require a certain level of sacrifice, a certain level of grit, and it's not that you have to grind your fingers to the bone, but doing that much more than the average person is willing to is going to reap amazing results in your life, because the average person is just satisfied being average. So the strive and the reach to be above average is something that I think I end up having conversations about a lot, and how that uh, conflicts with what you see in mass media or what you're
Mm-hmm.
presented with on a regular basis. Like, just making sure that you're not settling, but also you're creating some emotional and work and personal and life balance
Mm-hmm.
is a big thing in the circles that I'm speaking in, and through vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's heavy. I mean, I think and insightful. Like while you're talking, I'm like, well, I think that as women, we have this same, not all of us, but there are some of us, like me, for example, who has the same daunting voice that says, girl, you better get up because it ain't nobody coming to save you. That's how my voice, I don't know how your voice, mine does, mine does a little, that might be why I'm so traumatized. Anyway, but it's like when I was thinking through it at first, I'm like, well, everybody goes through that. It's not a male female thing. But then I'm also like, but society wise kind of sort of says that at least somebody supposed to save me. Whereas you men, y'all supposed to be the savers. And ain't nobody come like, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. That is like, at least I can kind of guilt somebody uncle on the other end that every week I've been sending out these imaginary wedding requests to come and save me. Is there's an opportunity, but for men, or for those in that particular role, I guess that's a whole different level of pressure of knowing there is not even a charity case or a grant that says men
There's no
struggling.
right. There's not a
Yeah.
cultural
Mm-hmm.
expectation or allowance
Allowance, yeah,
that
grace.
that
Mm-hmm.
right. I was scrolling social media. I think it was yesterday, and there's this group of black men and women having these conversations about relationships, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like on a grand scale. Like, this is in like a theater setting,
Mm-hmm.
and this man says, "Well, really, I want to be a stay-at-home dad,"
Mm-hmm. Oh, where he
and
at?
the
What he look
entire
like?
room, as a dude, I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what he looked like. He looked like a dude, like,
I
but
need
he
some better
said,
male friends. Come on, if you want to be one of my homeboys, y'all got to be able to describe your homeboys. You can say it. You ain't got to
my
say he
homeboy.
fine and he got a big booty, Jeremy. But golly, you could say aesthetically it makes sense with you and him, Al. You could. Okay, never mind. Focus. We got that off
It's,
camera.
it was a
But
1 minute clip. So, but
okay,
what he
okay,
said
gotcha.
was,
Mhm.
I want to be a stay at I want to be a stay-at-home dad, and the
Mhm.
entire room, mostly women, just erupt in laughter. And he says, "Wait, wait, wait. Let me be clear. I have worked over the last decade and a half of my life through military entrepreneurship. I own businesses, and I can make money while I'm at home. So if
Mhm.
I have no problem staying at home, raising my kids, wiping butts, throwing away diapers, because I want to have that quality time with my kids, and I can make money while other people are making money for me."
Mhm.
And the whole room went quiet, because
Mhm.
the expectation in his statement was, "I don't want to do nothing."
Mhm.
But the reality of his statement was, "I've set myself up to where I can command my day."
Mhm.
And you talk about the voice that you hear when you hear "no one's coming to save you." To me, in my
Mhm.
head, it
Mhm.
sounds like the Temptations movie. "Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis." Like, ain't nobody coming to save you. Like, that's what it sounds like in my head.
Anybody come
So
see you, Otis?
right. So this is a conversation that I've had with a couple of people in my life. I am working to set myself up to where even if I have a 9 to 5, there is a certain command of my day that I have. There's a certain economic freedom that I have. I'm not afraid to take vacation time. I'm not afraid to not be in the office, X, Y, and Z. Like just a certain level of stress that I don't have because I take a couple of days off of work. So that's a big thing for me and something that resonates in my head on a daily basis. Are you making moves to set yourself up so that in 5 years you are happy about the decisions that you made today?
I love it. Or you can say, are you making moves so that by this time next year, come on, you got to plug in the brand that we got a workbook, Jeremy. We got a workbook. If we sell 756 from this episode, we can even get $200 profit.
Hey,
I appreciate that. I think that what you've been sharing today and just this conversation period is very inspiring, and I hope that the brothers on the other end of this, the high quality, no, what did you, yeah, you said high quality men who are working constantly to be and stay and be better and quality people, like us women. We see y'all out here in these streets, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Next time you see a clip, though, can you just screenshot what he looked like, and just send it? Send it to me. I'm not really interested in anybody who trying to be a stay-at-home dad, because that means they might be a little bit younger, and that sounds like babies to me. But maybe his daddy, maybe his uncle that want to be we can babysit these grandkids sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Call me, put me in the game, coach. Yes. Okay, so Jeremy, any final thoughts, any last words on this? I want to say anything you want to leave our guests, but actually you leave the guest notes or the audience notes every single week. But anything that you want them to hear, you leave them notes and you save them for drama. Shout out to everybody. You guys got to know that there's some stuff that don't make it out because Jeremy's like, you know what, we going Allison, not this episode, not this one. We're going to hold that back. But anything you want to let them hear you say before we sign off?
My big thing is be the person that you don't want to be ashamed of seeing in retrospect. Like that's ultimately my big, like, you don't want to be ashamed of the actions that you've taken once you realize the consequences of those actions.
Yeah.
So live every day to be proud of the person you are.
I like that. Live every day to be proud of the person that you are. We come to work every day to be proud of the professional that we are. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You are my best coworker cousin. Golly. Thank you very much. You of all people. Thank you. And I appreciate you hanging out with us today on behalf of the coworker cousins, Jeremy. Thank you very much for hanging out in the break room.
My pleasure.
You want to do toodles?
Toodles.
Toodles. All right, y'all done?
And we're back, and now it's time for some more laughing all the way to the bank, which is our personal finance segment. This is my favorite segment because we're talking about money, but it is also the most challenging because we are talking about money. But that's why I think that this is so necessary to have these conversations with like-minded people, the family, because when I grew up, I just didn't have a community that I talked about money with. So money mindset, financial planning, none of those conversations was I comfortable or used to having, and therefore made a lot of decisions that were terrible by myself. Not to say that I would have made good decisions, but at least I wouldn't have been by myself making them. So I am excited about just growing this community with you and just being on this journey so that you and I can be some more laughing in the bank. I said be some more laughing. Want to be, do all the things. Make it a verb. But I just want to be in the bank laughing instead of crying. Okay. So while today, we've been doing all this conversation or this talking about personalities and etc. So of course that leads me to, I wonder how much personalities play a role in, your financial situation. Like, does your personality impact your finances? Duh. I mean, like, yeah, duh. But I never thought about it. Like, I never thought about it. Never looked into it. Never really cared. I just assumed that your finances was a direct reflection of what you did and didn't know. And that was it. And it is. It's just not it. I mean, yeah, your financial circumstances are impacted by what you know, period. But your temperament, your personality also influences that. And by being aware of who you are, of your personality, then that will directly connect to how you think about money, what you do with your money, and obviously that impacts how much money you got in the bank and whether you standing in the line with me crying or if we are laughing. So look, what I did learn was, okay, so like it's a lot of research that goes along with money personality. So that's something that you should Google and look into if this is a topic or a concept that's foreign to you. Or maybe it's not foreign to you, but there's opportunity there for you to like discover a little more. Let's get into it. So there's some research and some ways that people break down the personalities. Like, I've seen anywhere from 5 to 6 or 7 different personality types. Like there's some personality types that they're called, like they'll classify them as some of them like, extrovertism or something, like extrovertisms. I just know it had extrovert in it, and it made me think like, oh yeah, duh, personality. And that's what we're talking about today. Obviously, there's more than one type of personality type, and I'm really heavy on introvert, extrovert right now. But taking away from the general piece of it, you got like extrovertism. I think it is extrovertism or something, whatever. It's like conscientious type of personality. There is like I think it was neuroticisms or something. I don't know, but it's you have those, and then you have the more simplified ways to break down your money personality. Maybe you're spender, saver, shopper, maybe shopper, spender, investor, whatever. So it's like all that. Well, this particular segment or piece, our conversation is less about specifically what is your money type and more about you and I just talking through and recognizing that there are different personalities, different money personalities. And the better you and I understand what our money personality is, the more you and I can control and get ahead of what happens in our financial life, right? So I think about like the money personality and like when I was like researching it and everything, because then I went down. Sometimes it can get scary for me when I get like excited about something. I'm way down in a rabbit hole of stuff that's like, what? How is this relevant? What am I even researching anymore? What? I'm like, I start off looking at personalities, which took me into, I spent some time for this episode studying like leadership and personalities and managing different personalities. And then obviously for this segment, talk about financial personalities, which then leads me to the word personality. And where did the letter P come from? It's just what, like, somebody save me. Okay. But until one of y'all go ahead and help a sister get a sponsorship for this, and then we can hire a writer to help the content, and I can just show up and be the talent. Then we have to deal with my writing and some of my left, right, sideways curves. P is a letter for personality. Money personality is what we're talking about. Less about the specific money personality type and more about knowing that there are different types of personalities that impact how we or our relationship with our money, and obviously the decisions that come out of our financial planning or lack thereof. So you think about like your money personality, you think about your friend group, right? And we say our money personality impacts our financial decision. I want to use an analogy in the same way that our friends and their different personalities in the friend group impacts our friend trip. Okay, let's see if I can take this one all the way to the end. Let's get out of here. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Y'all believe in me? I believe in me. Let's illustrate this point. Okay, so okay, so you got a friend group, right? And you got 4 or 5 friends, and we know their different personalities, and knowing the dominant personality in that friend group will more than likely become the lead decision, or that'll be the person that's making, or will see the trip as a reflection of that dominant personality or influencer in the friend group. What we do on the friend trip will be heavily influenced by the most dominant personality in the friend group. That's a better way to state that. Hope that makes sense. So our money personality will directly impact our financial decisions. So we say our money personality will be equivalent to the friend in the friend group. Our friend trip is the example is the financial plan, or whatever our financial goal or etc. was, right? So if our financial personality is that of a saver, then we're going to see the fruit of that, the result of that on the end of, we'll see that in reflected in our goals. Did we accomplish them? Did we not? If our goals were about saving, and the dominant personality, our money personality, is a saving mentality, more than likely we're going to meet those saving goals. If our saving goals are, if our goals, our financial goals are savings, but our personality type is shopper, spender, everything but saving, then it's going to be that much more difficult for us to reach some of those goals, right? In the friend group, using that analogy, if the dominant personality or the leader of the friend group is the more extroverted friend, right, then more than likely the activities or the friend trip or what we're spending our money on or spending our time on is probably going to be that of very social type of activities, things that satisfy our extroverted friends' habits, desires, passions, and likes. So knowing the personality that we have, the relationship that we have, what the driving decision-making route is in our money space will really say, oh, that's how come I ain't got no money in the bank, or that's why I do, or that's why I tend to make these decisions, or that's why I have these habits or not. So we say, oh, I can see that, right? That's step one. What you and I are going to do is then say, all right, we are going to recognize we can change some parts of our personality, just like we're working on our professional personality. Me, for example, I'm working on not over talking, not coming across. I know me that I don't sign up to over talk, but that's how it's coming across. So I am making the decision to work on parts of my personality that is having these types of results. People are shut down. They're not really trying to contribute around me. They're already expecting for me to have a bright idea and take over. I don't like that outcome and those outputs. So I don't want that anymore. I'm changing my personality. Same with my money habits. If I had to say my money personality, if I had to describe my money personality, y'all, it would probably be that of a bimbo. I don't know. Is bimbo a personality? I don't know if bimbo is a personality. I don't know. But to me, a bimbo, like you think of when you think of bimbo, I don't know what y'all think of when y'all think of a bimbo, but let me hurry up and spit it out. When I think of a bimbo, I think of like people like, man, she's a bimbo or whatever. And it's definitely a slur, but it was definitely not a compliment. But I think it's more so it's like a letdown. It's like you see this beautiful package that externally it has a lot going on, and internally the internals do not match the external. Like you're like, wait, what did you just say? I was totally expecting you to have more depth, more meaning, more weight, and you don't have it. It's not all there. That's I feel like that my money personality is. It's like you are smart, Allison, or you're connected, or you're liked, or you communicate. Why don't you know how to balance a checkbook? Why don't you know how to why don't you understand? So for me, I think like there's some bimbo-ish going on, but I don't have to stay that way. I don't have to stay in financial airhead. I don't have to bimbo say they speak up and they're wrong or whatever. Like I don't have to be that anymore. I can become a student, right? I can elevate myself. I can mature and grow my money personality, so that the decisions that I make, the relationship that I have towards money is very different. And so that's what I'm working on. And that's what I want to encourage you to work on as well. Or if you're recognizing, man, I got some good results, as I have some great fruit as a result of my money personality. I don't want to change that. Maybe it's more just being aware of where your money personality is and hone in on those parts of your personality that are producing fantastic fruit. So that's our conversation for today, because baby, we gotta nail in on this. I promise you, I'm going to be standing in the teller line and they're gonna be like, you're next, ma'am. You're next. And I'm gonna be looking to the left and the right. You're next. I'm like, give me a minute. I'm waiting for the fam, because I'm gonna be doing something. More laughing. All the way to the back. Okay. I don't know how I felt about that one, but I'm gonna work on. We're gonna tie this up. It's gonna be one of these segments where the end is gonna be so smooth, everybody gonna know that's it. Okay, so let's take a quick break, and when we return, we got an off-the-record letter.
Hey, cousin colleagues and fellow leaders. If you're looking for a way to engage your employees, maybe if they're disconnected or you just want to help them level up their professional skills and presentation, well, I got a solution for you. Consider my 10-minute coffee break video series. It's a collection of DEIB videos hosted by myself, Allison Moore, comedian and human resources professional, and my friend and business partner, Jim Franklin, who's a retired vet and investment banker. Jim and I take a very different approach to a meaningful conversation.
Hey, gallivanting grandma. Where in the world are you gallivanting today?
Hey, Allison. Glad to be back. Yes, I am still in Portugal for the rest of the month, and we have got a letter that came in. You ready? Let's do it. All right. Hey, Allison, I love your show. My coworker bestie quit 2 years ago, and it has not been the same since. I'm so glad to have you and the other coworker cousins. Love you, and I'm coming to see you in Newport News at Cozy's this summer. Here's my question. My coworker is a monster, like for real. She is so mean. On top of her being an all-around terrible, mean, mad person, she brings a dog to work. She says it's her support dog and he has a disability, but she hides him from our corporate office and HR, so I really doubt it. If anyone from any of those offices calls our office, she gets very anxious to make sure no one tells that she has a dog at work. The dog is quiet most of the time and sits under her desk, but that's not the point. We work in a medical office, so only the dog lover patients are okay with her dog. The problem is there are only 7 people who work in our office. Our boss is the only man. His daughter is on the payroll, but doesn't do any work. And the other ladies have been at the office with him anywhere from 5 to 15 years, and they are super loyal. The monster is his side chick, so he lets her do whatever. Everyone in the office looks the other way when it comes to her, but I'm the one that has to work with her the most. So I get all of her outbursts, mood swings, and the unwanted information about their not-so-secret affair. But I hate that ugly dog, and I kind of hate her too. Even if I liked her, we still have several patients who won't come back. So that dog or the monster need to go. What should I do? The pay is decent, and I do like how they are very accommodating to me as a single mom, and they will allow me to work around my son's sports schedule. So I don't want to mess up a kinda good thing. What should I do? I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, Allison, let's unpack that one.
Okay, so shout out to you, and thank you so much for writing in. You know what I'm saying? To me, the real HR professional out here in these streets. So first, I think it's important for me to go ahead and establish or level set that here at the MooreLaughing at work, our coworker cousin community, we don't dog shame. And Dog beauty is in the eye of the owner beholder. You're not allowed to call people's ugly dogs ugly. Here, we use we allowed to call people kids ugly. Some of y'all got some ugly kids. I mean, one or two of mine might have gone through a stage at their life. I was looking at a picture of them the other day and I was like, ooh, they all in the same good, attractive stage. So God is good. But you're not allowed to call somebody's dog ugly here on the show. You must say words as in just maybe lumpy. Lumpy is a word you can use. Maybe they're a little lumpy. Or visually uncommon. Visually uncommon is a good one. We could do that. Anywho, I do understand that it just ain't the same when your coworker. If you get a coworker bestie, if you are blessed enough to have a coworker bestie, that's a whole big thing. Like I've had some really good coworker friends, but I have only had one coworker bestie. I mean, we were so aligned. Like we had the same educational level of background and we had the same level of job. We were on two different parts of the department, but it was the same level. So we were just in the same parts of our journey and our professional journey. We were around the same age. We were both married. So we came to work every week and just complained about our trash relationship. So we really connected. We had kids that were around the same age. She was a Hispanic sister. So it was giving. She used to bring me some dishes and she was teaching me Spanish, and it went along with, we were together for a year. And her year teaching me Spanish, along with my 3 years of being in Spanish in high school, really made me feel like I had probably about 6 months of Spanish. I mean, I got 1 through 10. Uno, dos, tres. So anyway, I really loved working with her. We used to go thrift. I mean, that was my homie for sure. She made working so good. Like we didn't even talk about work. We didn't even care about work, which was probably the bad part about it. Because if we would have used that energy that we had for each other to encourage each other professionally, maybe when I got fired, because that's what happened. I got fired. And she talks about how after I stopped working there, she just didn't want to do it no more. She probably worked there about 2 more months and then she left. It was challenging. So if you get to a best working friend and then you lose them, I know that you're grieving. So give yourself some space. Tell your boss that you need to take off time because you're grieving. Okay, you didn't ask about any of that. You want to talk about this visually uncommon dog that's sitting up in this office beside this monster, your word monster, that you don't like. So that's a situation, and I'm sorry, I have been in a space before too where I worked with the senior manager favored somebody that worked there. But actually what happened was they had a favoring kind of situation before I got there. By the time I started working there, he was just really, really mean to her. He just treated her like crap. He talked to her like crap. Everybody knew it. And I always had this I want to speak up kind of thing, but then sometimes I am muzzled. And so in that, I was just start working there. I was filling out the lay of the land. I'm like, well, he the senior leader. Who am I to complain to? So I really wasn't empowered to speak up or advocate. In this season of my professional journey, if I don't feel like I have enough weight or leadership or respect that I can call out some of these egregious things that might be happening and something will happen because I spoke up and said something, I ain't even working nowhere. If I, at this stage of my life, I am way too, if I can't speak up on behalf of something like that going on, then I'm not the one. But everybody is in a different place in their journey. So that might not be the energy that obviously, because you wrote in and said, what should you do? So you don't have the confidence that you can speak up on yourself, for yourself. Matter of fact, we talked about this in like episode 8, I think it was, advocating for yourself with Dr. Nika White. If you have not already, check out that episode. But in this particular case, you're kind of reluctant to snitching on, old girl, because she's taking care of y'all boss. And so that's a whole nother level of grandfather clause. She got some other kind of clause. She got a side chick clause. Okay, I'm laughing. I'm sorry, but this is what you need to do off the record. Let's just get into it. Okay, we're gonna bring this episode to an end. Off the record, this is what you do, how you deal with that situation, because you are in a pickle. You're uncomfortable. If something come out, they are probably going to know that it's you. You got a small office. He boning her. Everybody else, they've been there 100 years. They like, look, we don't got no issue with it. Shut up. Don't say nothing. The daughter, she said, she like, you know. So this is what you need to do off the record. Take a picture of that dog in the office. Make it look like it's coming from an angle that a patient, customer, I think you said patient, would have taken, and send that right on, post that. Don't just make a fake account on social media and post it or send it to corporate. Go a week that is a whole bunch of clients or customer patients or whatever. I mean, this is off the record, but look, you don't want them to know it came from you. It need to come from a customer. It need to tell somebody, because human resources wouldn't be okay with it. Corporate wouldn't be okay with it. If it is like you said, if it's a support dog, then she wouldn't be hiding. You know, y'all can get that taken care of. There can be accommodations, and obviously I don't know all of the details, but that's not your issue. Okay, and if you are afraid of the retaliation, then your patient needs to go ahead and tell corporate. Because corporate needs to know. Corporate need to know if it's turning y'all losing patients. They want to know. Maybe your that office manager or whatever might not want to speak up because you're going to bring down their card house. But on behalf of the company, your loyalty is to the organization. If I go in a doctor's office and I see a dog in there, yuck. So that is my off the record. But I'd be very interested. What would the other anybody else who is listening that is a coworker, cousin, one of our colleague, cousin, colleague, what would you all do? What would you do if you work with somebody who brought their dog up to work? They were monsters, but they were also taking care of your boss. That's a pickle. But I'm glad that you let us know that we're not the only ones that's going through drama at our job. If you got some drama, some tea at your job, and you want a real HR person out here in these streets to give you an off the record answer, go ahead and please let me know, because that was juicy. I appreciate that one. And I love you too. Thanks for listening. So thanks to everybody who has hung out with us on today. Really appreciate our episode 10 and working on personalities, y'all. Listen, because y'all know I'm out here. I'm 40. I'm mature. I have a great personality. I am going to reel in some of this extrovert and give a space for other people to shine. And I'm really excited about what you might be doing or in what ways this episode resonated with you. Please write us and let us know if you got an off the record. It's something that we said was just interesting or fun to you. You want to hear something else? Let me know. MooreLaughing, MooreLaughing @gmail.com. Don't judge me because I got a Gmail email account. It's still a real podcast. Got to be more careful. I am your host, comedian Allison Moore. Thank you for hanging out. I will see you next week at MooreLaughing at Work. Toodles.